in the process of going live here on YouTube. And if we're already up, I tell you what, if you're in the waiting room, I see Pipe Trees in the waiting room. We're going to open it up in just a little bit. In the process of going live here on YouTube. And there we go. Let me mute that. So we are live on YouTube. So hello, everybody. So hello, brothers and sisters of the Briar. Professor Jeremiah here, and
the Three Rivers. I hope I'm getting interference, so I might be popping out and popping back in. We'll see.
Yeah, it's ever since he saw the alien spaceship hovering over.
Oh, you said you're going to keep that quiet, but there we go. No, it's just strange. Could be just a loose connection, but once Tree joins us, I'll see what I can do at this end.
Okay, well, no problem. As I
Unless...
said, the other day it was a little cloudy. Your picture, and now you got lines. It's if, as I say, if you'll just adjust your rabbit ears.
Right. Happy days.
And right now, there's a whole bunch of people probably watching that don't know what rabbit ears are. No. But, and there may not be a whole bunch of people. We may just have Tree watching. So if for those of you who are interested in joining in, as I said the other day, you can send me an email if you haven't already. If you did and you didn't get a response from me, you might send it again. I'll check my email here in about 5 or 10 minutes just to double check and see if there's anybody that didn't receive the invite that needed to. And if you did receive an invite and you're waiting to log into the Zoom room, go ahead and do so. Now, you did say that there was a couple little extra jumps to go through today.
But normally you just send me a line, I click on it. This time it's just a few more fences to jump. But
I don't know. Something about AI, so who knows?
Oh yeah, it came up. If you want to, it was suggesting they get involved with AI, which I just ignored. So it seems to settle now.
Yeah. So today's the 76th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. So
is it?
Isn't it? I think so. Am I wrong? Or is it the
Is it 76? Or is it, why am I thinking 81?
Maybe 81st, you're right.
81st, yeah.
I'm 5 years off.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting all these lines here. What year is it where you are? Let's just...
Well, we haven't done the time travel segment. And I'm just going to say, we got to put a little teaser out there. I don't know what we're going to call this segment, but Steve and I have a segment that'll be coming out soon, maybe by the end of next week, because there's a little bit of editing to be done, but it's going to be on the strange and bizarre. And this first segment is like a stream of consciousness, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, what I thought we were just having one of our normal conversations, which is far from normal. And you said, I think I might just edit that and put it out. There's a few, I'm thinking, no chance. So we'll see. We'll see.
If I'm talking to you, I'm normally recording. Because you never know what direction things are going.
As I found out to my cost over the years. Oh, happy days. Yeah. Oh, no. So you're keeping that one under wraps, are you, Professor?
Well, I've got a little editing I want to do, and then we'll have to come up with a little title for it, because I think we touch on a few topics that you and I have said before we wanted to address, and we haven't ever really gotten to them. And we this time we just hit the smorgasbord, and didn't go in depth really, but we sort of skimmed the surface of a lot of them, and probably about 10 to 15 minutes. So it's definitely worth editing and putting out there. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the room. We've got Tree with us, and hopefully some others will be popping in here in just a little bit. So welcome, Pipe Tree. He's coming in, going through the process of whatever Zoom requires these days. Maybe a background check and everything. So we'll see if he passes here.
Here's
I did
something.
like those bamboo stilms that you had at the pipe meetup. Those were some nice ones. I would have been interested to see those in person. I'm going to have to follow the link. He has a website with all of his pipes up, doesn't he?
I've got his card. Had his card. I'll send you the details. Do you know, I've had you said in your pipe competition, pipe smoking competition, the first prize was an old boy, wasn't it?
Oh, I'd have to. Yeah, mine. Yeah, it's an old boy lighter.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, and we got Bud with us this time. Welcome.
Hello, Bud. Hello, Chris.
Welcome. Glad to be here.
Excellent. I've had this Peterson about 6 years now, and it just gunged up. You know, a lot of around, you know, couldn't get the gas was coming out, couldn't ignite, blah, blah, blah. So a little trick that I use, mouthwash, and I just put in a small receptacle, got Mrs. Three Rivers toothbrush, just soaked it up, and gave it a good scrubbing. Put a new flint in, job's a good one. So there you go, after all those years. It didn't have to bring some dirt off.
Yeah, I keep a little wire brush.
Oh, that's what Mrs. Three Rivers, in fact, it could be her toothbrush now, yeah.
But yeah, I have to hit the striker every now and then. But I don't think that the fuel is as clean as it used to be.
Probably not.
I'm finding that my lighter doesn't last as long as it used to. And I've, for those who would say, well, it might have air buildup, I've bled it. I bleed it every time before I load it. But I don't think it's the old boy. I've had this with other lighters as well. Still, the old boy's been the best lighter of butane lighters that I've had. So, Bud, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Except I can't get my earbuds to. I have a brand new laptop I'm using, and my earbuds won't connect to my Bluetooth. So that's a little frustrating, but everything else does. My printers shows up, and my other speaker I'm not even using and have turned on is showing up.
I'm looking here at the comments. Piper X1X says, evening, guys. And also it comes back and says, I'm part watching on TV, so we'll be missing some comments and busy making tea. So I hope he comes in and joins us. Let me put in the comment section here my email address for those who may want to join. And as I say, just shoot me an email and I will send you the link.
Yeah, I hope you could join us, Jonathan. Be good.
I did send out a link to the YouTube video announcing this thing to my pipe club. So I'm hoping somebody shows up, but who knows?
Oh yeah. Well, I had a couple of people send me a request and I sent it to them, but we'll see who joins us today. So, Tree, how are you doing? You've been quiet.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Last couple of months have been a bit rough, but that's because I changed my antidepressant. Sent me slightly off the deep end, but I've been there before.
Well, sorry to hear that.
I'm not doing bad at all.
Good.
No.
Bud, what are you smoking there? And what are you smoking, Bud?
Just a bent, but it's the copper colored, I guess.
Yeah,
And it's the I forgot what they call it, but it's a big, tall, you know, thick walled.
that'll cover it.
Yeah, I'm
And what have you
smoking
got burning in there?
some Pessy Canoe.
Oh, this has come up a few times with different pipe smokers. I notice my general supply, my smoking shop, they actually have it. Please enlighten me a bit more about this tobacco. It seems to be quite popular.
Well, this is the Oriental Flake. So right now they have two Latakia flakes. One's a 20 and one's a 40% Latakia. And then they have the Oriental Flake, which is, as far as I can tell, just Orientals and Virginias. But it's very, I mean, the aroma is awesome. The flakes are literally the size of the tin. So, I mean, you're huge.
Who makes it? Who actually makes it? What's the?
It's made in Turkey, and it's the company is Glidora Tobacco.
All right.
And
And
then
which one do you recommend, Bud? Which one of the three do you
Well, I
recommend?
like Orientals, so that's why I picked the Oriental one. So
Okay.
that's distributed by Ladisi.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, on your
that out.
recommendation, if I can get that particular one, I shall have a go. Just for the record, I'm on a bronze-coloured Jack Hargreaves tribute pipe with the Dublin rustic, and in it I've got Rich Dark Spring Dew from Gareth Hogarth. Bubble.
I think I've got the same pipe, but with
Oh wow!
Commonwealth mixture. I dug one of my old tins out because the new ones you can't read the label.
No,
Yeah. Are they doing away with that in the UK, or is that still pretty persistent?
Oh, no. It is a tin I brought today of Skiff mixture. Yeah. There's the name of it down in the corner. Little tiny,
Mm.
you know.
Well, I've got the Commonwealth here. I've been smoking, but as you're
Yeah.
saying, the disgusting tin.
Yeah.
I've forgotten how good it
I
was.
dug out my old tin. Yeah. I've been going back to Samuel Gower mixtures because I forgot how good they are.
Mm. Well, again, that Commonwealth, I mean, I've nearly finished that tin. It's 50% Latakia, 50% Virginia. But
Yeah.
it's not a heavy smoke. It's just a nice, cool smoke. It's got good taste, burns all the way through.
Yep.
What about you, Professor?
Well, I've got some Prince's blend
All
in my
right.
bottle again. The Dracor and Sons. I still need to do an official review. I haven't, but maybe soon.
It is something maybe we can release it today. Professor and I were talking about, as some may do from time to time, celebrities and what, present and past, and what their favoured tobacco was, because we all smoke a plethora, don't we? But and one I did ask some time ago was Alfred Wainwright, who was born in Lancashire, but he did pen pictures and books on the Lake District and all the hills there, which are famous. He passed away, but he did smoke a Falcon. And I think I was listening to a chap who used to go walking with, who did a series for the BBC called Eric Robson. He's in his 80s now, I think. But he was talking to me. He said, "Well, I'll go down here and I'll leave you with the three nuns." So I think he must be, Wainwright smokes the three nuns. But I think we, you know, if anyone has any ideas of certain pipe smokers like J.R.R. Tolkien, I think we know that one, and such. But you know, I thought we'd try and put a compendium together and we'll see where we go with it.
And it'd be interesting too to see what pipes maybe are out there. Like, do they have any of C.S. Lewis's pipes in a museum
Oh, crikey.
somewhere? Or, you know, just to see some pictures of those.
Yeah.
I would have to go back through some of my photos to see what I can surface. But we were at a little museum in Rio, and it was for I guess, sort of like I don't know if you'd say jazz, but a musician, and they had a couple of his pipes in the place, and I thought that was interesting that they had preserved this man's pipes. So I'll have to surface those pictures up.
Well, I know Arthur Ransom, who wrote Swallows and Amazons, pipe smoker. I have written to his society in the Lake District, but I don't get anything back. And Alfred Wainwright Society, the chairman, is actually Eric Robson. I've actually now got contact details for Eric. And he is also, or was, a pipe smoker. So I don't know if we could encourage him to come onto the Pit Helmet matinee, but that's my intention anyway, see if he's up for it. But you'll know, Mark Twain, come on, he must have a famous tobacco. Anybody know? Or was it not pipe tobacco?
I've got a Mark Twain tobacco.
Oh, yeah. Oh, crikey, yeah. Do you know, you left everyone hanging about a year ago because you were going to review that Mark Twain.
Have I not reviewed this?
Oh, maybe you did and I missed it, or I was on the same tablets as Chris. I don't know.
I don't know. I have to check it out. Maybe I didn't. Yeah. I have so many blends, and sometimes I think I've reviewed some, and I haven't.
I think what it was Missouri Meerschaum had brought out some tobaccos. Well, am I in another planet? And he said, fancy a pipe maker.
I did review one Missouri Meerschaum, but I haven't reviewed all of them. I reviewed this one, the apple crumble, but I never got to this one.
What's that one?
Irish cream.
Oh, crikey. He's got the harp on there.
It'll be coming up. I just hadn't gotten around to it.
Well, I don't know if Jonathan Piper X1X is still listening, but he knows at one stage I was looking for an air rifle. And if he's listening, I've got it down to two now. 177 anyway. And one would be the BSA, which is Lightning, which is now made in England once again, in Birmingham. And the other one is the Wyrac HK97, which I think he's got an example of. So, but there is a price differential between the two, and it's not something I'm going to use every day. But if you're around there, Jonathan, tell me what you think about the BSA Lightning, the latest one. Well, there we go. Just put it out there.
Are there limitations on air rifles?
Well, if you haven't got an arms license, then yes, you don't need a license for up to sub 12 pound capacity on an air rifle or air gun. But the revolvers come down significantly in power. But I'm just looking at a Springer, not a gas, power, just as the ordinary underarm Springer.
Yeah. I can't imagine. In the U.S., there's no.
I know.
There might be some local or state regulations, but for the most of the part of what I know, there's no regulations for air rifles in the U.S.
Not in the States.
You can even go on Amazon and buy air rifles that are almost comparable to a regular rifle.
Well, I've seen
they have one. I think it's like a 357, caliber, or not caliber, but 357 equivalent. That's a air rifle. So he said the HW97 any day of the week.
Right.
Of course,
Second part of the question. Second part of the question. Hawk scope, what size? And I'm talking shooting vermin rather than target shooting. He's the oracle when it comes to air rifles in this country, Jonathan. I'll tell you.
What's your regulations on black powder?
Oh, don't know. I don't know. I mean, I had a shotgun license. That was it.
No, you can buy black powder muskets and that without any regulations, but getting the actual gunpowder, I think you've got to have a license for that.
I would have thought so. Some of these specialist gunsmiths still maintain and provide, don't they, Chris?
Yeah.
In that regard. In fact, the guy who would know would be our old friend, Sir Johnny Scott.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
he's going to tell me not a hawk. He's going to tell something else, isn't he?
Yeah, he said, he said it's 4-12 times 56.
Yeah.
And then we had I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Quackenbush air guns, real hitting rifles.
This is where he's got one of his. Very good pricing. What was that field of view again, Professor?
4-12 times 56.
There we go. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm shouting because he's in Yorkshire.
Was he there for the smoke? Is he a part of the Yorkshire Pipe Club?
I'm sure he would have been very welcome to have been there. The Yorkshire Pipe Club were there.
I think they said that they had quite a few members, didn't they?
Yes, they do. I know what that follow on regularly on Facebook was 900 and something.
Wow. Oh yeah, I remember he was who you were saying getting them to over 1,000 members.
Well, I had a couple of lovely comments come back from their members over having the chat with them and promoting them as with the Cheshire Pipe Club. And then, so obviously you've now seen the film. So you saw Bernard there as well, from president of the Pipe Club of London, giving the background story to Cabby's mixture.
Mm.
And Michael from Blakemar Briars over the Douglas Barder pipe.
Yeah. So I wonder if he knows what Douglas Barder's actually smoked.
Do you know, I should have asked. He met him once.
Mm.
I did try. Well, this is one of the things, you see. I think I don't know. I said I'm not going to buy any more pipes, But I think I might just have to have the Douglas Bader. He apparently he asked for it once he'd finished flying and such. He wanted a pipe that wasn't too bulky, that he could, cast a salmon rod and shoot a shotgun, and it not get in the way. So I think, don't think Mark Backcountry Piper. I think he's tempted on getting one.
There was something I missed in that conversation, and I needed to go back and check that out at the end, but I didn't have time at the moment. But yeah, when he was talking about making the pipe,
yes,
for that. So
that is, didn't want it too long, too bulky, nice and light, so that he could be not so he'd be in the cockpit of his airplane, and that's how these myths sort of gather momentum. But it was to do after flying, when he finished flying, fishing and shooting. But he did get to meet the great man once, he said, and it was his uncle that started Blake Marbriers back in the late 1800s, I think. And he produced clay pipes and meerschaum. So that's where Michael learnt his trade, carving meerschaum. And then on the Four Horsemen of Acropolis, is it, Chris?
Yeah, Four Horsemen, yeah.
It was something like a blue theme. So Michael actually did a meerschaum pipe. It was a skull. But Ian did a Countryman. Chris, he did one of his new, he's done a lot of these now, doesn't he, Chris? Forget it now, but they all have blue stems anyway. But I think they were sold, they were going to release it or promote it at the show, but the other Chris hadn't done his.
Yeah.
What's his surname, Chris? Exactly.
Began with an A.
Sorry?
Not Chris Harrier, it's the other one, isn't it? Chris Asquith.
Asquith, that's right. But it was Chris Asquith that did all the pipes for the slow smoking competition this year. Everyone awesome. Said what wonderful smoking pipes they were.
That's probably why you didn't have time to do the Four Horsemen pipe.
Yeah, probably. Oh, exactly. Well, their stand was so busy on the day. I did speak to him early doors and said, if you're free, can I pop round and have a chat? Yeah, no problem. Well, they were so busy, I never interrupted them. And then the battery ran out. I just about got Bernard his interview, and then I ran out until I got back and charged it up for the next day. But it was a good fellowship.
I thought some of you might find this interesting. I checked this out last night on ChatGPT. If you ask it this question, so let me punch it in here. Can you tell me what kind of pipe Jack Hargrave smoked?
Jack Hargreaves was known for his love of pipe smoking, often seen with a classic bent briar pipe. He preferred traditional English blends of tobacco, which added to his distinguished and relaxed persona.
Can you tell me about what brand pipe he smoked?
Jack Hargreaves was known for smoking Falcon pipes, a brand celebrated for its cool and dry smoking experience.
Bit of a conflict, but yeah. He did smoke briars, but he was like, right through the decades that they have the films with Dave Knowles, it was always a Falcon there. He did change different bowls from time to time, but generally the rusticated Dublin.
Yeah. Well, last night it gave me more details than that. Can you tell me about the Falcon pipe which he smoked? Give me more details about it.
Absolutely. The Falcon pipe is quite unique in the world of pipe smoking. It features a modular design consisting of a metal stem and an interchangeable briar bowl. This design allows for a cooler, drier smoke because the metal stem helps dissipate heat and the removable bowl is easy to clean or replace. Falcon pipes became popular in the mid-20th century for their practicality and the consistently good smoking experience they provided. The brand also offers a variety of bowl shapes and finishes, allowing smokers to customize their pipes to their liking. Jack Hargreaves often chose the Falcon pipe for its reliability and the quality of smoke it delivered, making it a staple in his collection.
What bowl shape did he choose?
Jack Hargreaves was known for smoking Falcon pipes, particularly those with a Dublin rustic bowl shape. This design featured a straight stem and a bowl with a traditional rustic finish, adding to the classic look he favored.
Oh, you've got to say they're making an effort there. That's brilliant. To ask him about the tobacco. There you go. It starts.
Can you tell me what kind of tobacco he smoked?
Jack Hargreaves preferred traditional English blends of pipe tobacco. He often chose brands like Condor and St. Bruno, which are known for their rich, slightly floral and robust flavors. These blends complemented his preference for a smooth and enjoyable smoking experience.
He probably did, but in one of his books, and it's not, they say about the Gallagher's, rich dark honeydew. But I think they actually made commented. I know back in the day you could get ready rubbed and flake of that variety. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Classic 10 there.
Yeah. Oh, you.
No warning labels, so that must have been back before tobacco had health issues.
Yeah. You see, you got rubbed out.
Piper X1X gave a correction on that, Steve. He said it's a times 50.
Thank you, Jonathan.
And Bud, are you reading the comments?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Just throw about on YouTube.
Yeah, Drop Fly Fisher sent you a comment about your earbuds.
I got them to work.
Okay. He's up and
read
running.
directions.
I saw that you had them in, so I didn't know if you were reading the comments or not. I just wanted you to know that there's a comment directed at you.
There's a pairing button actually on the back of the case. So once you press that, it starts blinking. Then it can see it. It popped right up. So
yeah, mine can be temperamental.
I appreciate the help with that though.
Mine will be paired with the device for months, sometimes a year, and then all of a sudden it'll just say, "Nah, I don't want to pair anymore."
Right. I asked Bing about what tobacco Mark Twain smoked, and it said Players Navy Cut was one of the ones that he endorsed. So
let's check Chat GPT and see
what they say.
Can you tell me what type of tobacco Mark Twain smoked?
Mark Twain was an avid pipe smoker and favored strong aromatic tobaccos. He often enjoyed blends of Burley and Virginia, which were popular in his time. While specific brands from his era aren't always documented, he was known to favor rich, flavorful blends that provided a robust smoking experience.
Can you search and see if there's any particular blend attributed to Mark Twain? Now it's time to do a deep search.
Mark Twain, also known as Samuel Clemens, was known to favor Blackwell's Durham tobacco. This blend is a type of Turkish tobacco that was quite popular in his time.
Is that still available today?
Blackwell's Durham tobacco was discontinued in 1988, so it's no longer available for purchase today. However, vintage tins and memorabilia occasionally appear on auction sites like eBay.
Well, not a full tin on eBay, but maybe if you go to Pipe Stud.
Yeah.
Can I ask, Professor, do you think this contact of yours have heard of Alfred Wainwright? Because he smoked a Falcon. And I know I've seen on photographs the different bowls he's used, and he's smoked the bent aluminium, and also straight. But again, tobacco. I heard Eric mention Three Nuns in one of the films, but he'll probably be a Saint Bruno because they were staple tobaccos anyway. If you went in for well, I'll have a tin of Three Nuns or sold out, well, I'll have Saint Bruno or a Condor. You know, they and have been, haven't they?
Stephen, you were holding up the blue capstan before.
Oh yes, it's only because
they're discontinuing it. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, it's just this was one. Oh yeah, a few of the writers sort of J.R. Tolkien smoked this, and as well as Three Nuns, as well as others, I'm surmised. Well, crikey, my brain's going. Maigret, who wrote Maigret?
Oh goodness,
George.
I sent you the book.
I know, and I'm ashamed that I can't remember. Georges Simenon. He of the photographs I found of him, there's usually a tin of Royal Yacht Dunhill around somewhere. But I know he never had the pipe out when he was writing. I mean, there's so many writers, haven't they? Said it's like a stimulus. It keeps them going. You know, it's right the way through. The pipe's never out the mouths.
Yeah.
And I know where another friend of the Pit Helmet Matinee, and I know we've got Chris here, but alongside Chris, Malcolm Gate, he's never got his pipe too far away, and he's been smoking the black cherry. Samuel Goeth, I think that's the one he sort of favours, which a lot of us don't.
Now, I've loaded up a bowl of the Mark Twain, and I'll say this is a Sutliff blend. So I don't know what will have gone on with that. I guess it's going to be gone with the wind like so many other Sutliff blends.
Yeah.
So.
But when you were saying about Navy Cut, that's why I picked this up. The Captain Navy Cut might have been one that he alluded to. Who knows? But Alfred Wainwright was a writer.
Yeah, let me ask it. I'll see here. And just for anybody, if you want to join in, I see we got 15 people watching, so God bless you.
All right.
But if you want to join in, I put my email address up in the box that's in the comment section. And let me just double check and see if anybody's messaged me. And then I'll check out and see what it tells us. No messages yet. I did have one person. Bob told me that he tried to come in and didn't get in. Hey, try to come back in again, and I'll keep an eye. If you see me looking around, it's because I'm looking at a monitor above me. I'm looking at the chat, and I'm also looking over to see if anybody else has entered the room. Of course, for just standards, I have a waiting room, so we've had the party crash before on us, haven't we, Tree? So
sure have.
We've back in the old days, at one point we were meeting up, and then we would just, to say the freedom that we used to have, I could just put the link to the room in the live chat, and we'd have people joining, and then all of a sudden we had people joining that weren't legitimate pipe smokers. So anyway, we had to start kind of filtering that out. But let me check this out and see what it says about. Can you tell me about what kind of pipe and tobacco Alfred Wainwright smoked?
He's probably gone for a lie down now.
That sounds like a great idea. Rest up and take it easy.
It caught you.
Isn't that spooky? That is spooky, eh?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, it's crazy. It didn't answer my question, but it got you laying down. Let me ask it again.
Loves me, hates you.
Hey, can you tell me about what kind of pipe Alfred Wainwright smoked and his tobacco as well?
Alfred Wainwright, the famous British cellwalker and author, was known to smoke a traditional briar pipe. He often enjoyed simple, classic pipe shapes that were easy to carry during his long walks in the Lake District. As for his tobacco, Wainwright preferred straightforward, no-nonsense blends. While specific brands he favored aren't as well documented, it's known that he enjoyed traditional English pipe tobaccos that were readily available during his lifetime.
Well, the Falcon has a briar bowl. And he did smoke briar for sure, but his traditional pipe he had with him.
The Falcon pipes do have a briar bowl, which combines the durability and flavor characteristics of briar wood with the innovative metal stem. And yes, Wainwright definitely enjoyed traditional briar pipes as well, which are known for their excellent smoking qualities and classic appeal.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm sure there used to be a TV program called Wainwright's Walks on British TV.
Here you go, Steve. This'll scare you.
I'm already freaked out.
What can you tell me about Three Rivers YouTube pipe smoking presenter?
Three Rivers Piper, though, isn't it?
Three Rivers Piper is a YouTube presenter who shares his passion for pipe smoking. His channel features reviews, discussions, and insights into various tobaccos and pipes. You can find his content by searching for Three Rivers Piper on YouTube.
Oh. Sounds like a great fellow.
It does.
I'm glad he didn't mention all the bad things.
It goes to
now,
show the depth of AI and how fast AI searches. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with what you're able to do these days with AI.
Well, there's an advert now, and it said something about, okay, you've got a day now to do this project. But he said, no, you haven't. What happens if you could do it in 30 seconds? Well, you can. And all the participant did was type in, do me a thesis on such a thing. Bing. And that was it.
Well,
and if you wanted drawings with that and photographs or illustrations, just add that to the equation, off it goes.
well,
Scary.
recently I needed some pictures for a presentation I was doing, and I couldn't find any on the internet. And I thought, I'm wasting my time searching the internet for a picture. I just went onto the AI. I told it what I was wanting, and it produced the picture. And then I could say, I like this picture. I love everything about it, but I want you to tweak this one little thing that's on the right side of the picture. And it did that and turned it out just perfect. I needed a flyer for my ministry here for a presentation that we're doing for children during the week. And I gave it all the details, turned it loose, had it tweak a couple of things, and I had a flyer in less than 10 minutes. And that's something that in times past, I would have had to have sent off to a graphics designer.
Yeah.
They would have sent it back to me. I would have had to approved it. I feel bad for graphic designers because it literally is something that could put them out of business. But, you know, this just created exactly what I needed and was better than what I think I would have gotten from a graphics designer.
You know, I think their profession was safe as houses until you just said all that.
I single-handedly
All these kids in university going, just ripping up the CVs, right? I'll
I
start something else.
single-handedly brought down the profession right here on
Yeah.
Falcon Friday on the 81st anniversary of D-Day.
Yeah, Albert Einstein smoked a pipe, didn't he?
He did. Is it remembrance or
Yeah, no,
no?
Revelation, isn't it?
Revelation. There you go. That's the one. Well done, bud.
It just I just the daily vlog of smoking pipes. They had an article about that, so I just happened to run across it.
Oh, can you still get that tobacco, bud?
I think you can.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I'm sure Ron smokes it or a match to it.
Well, here's one we were talking about the other night, Professor and I, about Admiral Byrd.
Oh, yeah.
And he smoked something called, was it 1,000 Inns? Oh, no, you can remember it, can you, Professor? It's one of your Dracula friends.
Oh, Inns of Court, I think is what you
Inns
said
of
it
Court.
was.
I
And
think
that's
you can
one I
still
haven't
get
gotten
that.
yet. I have it in my bucket for my next purchase, but I haven't picked up any yet. I don't know if that comes as a flake or if it comes as a, I don't know what the cut is on that one. Oh.
I think that would be an interesting, I mean, we can't get it here, but it'd be an interesting blend, you know, for someone of that nature and that stature, you know, Captain Admiral Byrd, Admiral Byrd, as he eventually became, wasn't he?
Hey, I did see where Cornell and Deal blends are now available
In bulk.
for sale.
Yeah.
In I thought in the UK or somewhere I saw a little blurb about that.
Yeah. Now, Steve or Chris, y'all, can you buy bulk blends in the UK, or does everything have to be tinned?
You know,
You can buy loose tobacco, but it's no cheaper. You can't go, I'll have a pound of that and it'll come down in price. No. You pay the same whether it's tinned or loose.
Well, that's a real shame because, I mean, there's no incentive unless it's a blend that you can only get as a bulk blend. That's a real shame because there should always be a break one just because they're not having to package it. But, I mean, that's the thing that I always come back and tell people. I know a lot of folks still in the U.S. buy tinned tobaccos, but as I've said, some of you are probably tired of hearing me say this. To me, you need to find a bulk blend that you really like and have that as a primary, or a few bulk blends as primary blends if you're a regular smoker, because otherwise you're just spending all this money on tinned tobacco. And, you know, typically, I guess somewhere between $35 and $45, you can get a pound of tobacco. Well, that's only going to buy you 2 tins of tobacco, which might only be might only be like 8 ounces, or
4 ounces.
So
it's a fraction. You can get a fraction discount. It is a fraction. But do you enjoy the Cornell and DL, bud?
Yeah, I have quite a few of the blends that I like.
Well, these are the ones that we're supposed to be able to get in the UK now. Genuine American pipe tobacco. Opening night, which is fundamentally Virginia's, it's a broken flake. Red Virginias, bright Virginias. Sunday picnic. Again, a flake. Perique. And Izmir, Turkish. Might be up your street, that, apart from the Perique, maybe. And then Autumn Evening is the one they use in the slow smoking competition, which is Red Virginia, Cavendish, lightly cased with a delicate maple flavour. That it sounds good, that one. Black Frigate. Again, a Turkish Latakia. Navy Cavendish. Now, I'm not sure, why would that be? Did he put a bit of rum in it? I don't know. Then that's Black Frigate. Then Star of the East. I've heard that one before. Turkish Latakia. Again, well, sorry, no, reading the wrong line. Turkish Leaf, sweetened and stoved with red Virginia. Star of the East. And then there's Bijou.
Yeah,
Sweet pine leaf, small leaf, Catarini. That's a new word for me. Bijou is married with a hint of honey before being pressed and sliced into a delicate flake.
That sounds nice.
That with a buttered scone and a cup of tea.
Drop Fly Fisher asked me. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Oh, there's only three more. Bijou Morning, Virginia Perique, Bright Virginias, 25% Perique, Morning Flake. A Perique Lover's Delight. And then there's Dreams of Kadath. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Which is, oh crikey. Before you descend into the steps of dreamlands, prepare yourself with a fragrant plug of dark-fired Kentucky. Oh, that sounds good. That Catarini.
Dreams of Gaddafi would sound like that would have to have some Turkish tobaccos in it.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
If that didn't have any Turkish blends, they need to rename that.
Well, it's got dark-fired Kentucky, Catarini, that could be it, Perique, Virginia, Burley, Black Cavendish, and then there's Bayou Night, which last but not least. These are the only ones I know about. A Scottish-type blend of Latakia, Perique, Virginia's, Turkish, Burley's, and Bosa. Heavier Perique component than that normally found in this classic Scottish blend. A full smoke that is surprisingly cool on the palate.
That's a good range of blends.
Yeah. And they were being released. Well, they were already released unofficially when we had the show. And I was talking to someone about them. He said, oh, don't put it out there yet because they weren't quite prepared. So now you should be able to get those.
Drop Fly Fisher asked me if I'd found anything to replace my Sutliff bulk blends with. I have to say the answer to that is I have 28 pounds of various Sutliff bulk blends.
Yeah.
So at this point, I have no need to find a replacement. I will at some point when I get the opportunity. I'll order several, small, probably just 2 ounces of various Cornell and Dill blends. Kind of coming back to Steve and your question as far as what are those blends like, I'll just say, and this is where if we get a thumbs down today, I'll attribute it to this comment. But, I've always found in the past, and I could be wrong now because I haven't gotten very many Cornell and Dill blends of late, but they used to be a lot of real roughage I would find in their tins. They would have a lot of stems, more so than other tobaccos that I've gotten. And maybe some people like that. I'm just not used to having a lot of stems in my blend. So the cut was sometimes just, as I say, it's just kind of a rough cutting of the tobacco. And I felt like didn't have the care that some of the blenders do. But that may have changed. I'm kind of going back to what it was like 7-8 years ago even. I still have a few tins of theirs that I do pull out and smoke from time to time. Caravan was a blend that I really enjoyed, and I still have a lot of. But a lot of the Caravan blend that I bought was aged at the time, so now it's really aged. I bought a lot of that from Steve Fallon back in the day. Even my local tobacconist had some pushed to the far back of their shelves. I think they didn't even know it was there because it was all dusty when I unearthed them and bought them. But so I still have a lot of that scrolled away in just in my stash. Hey, we also have a commenter that's a real classic YouTube presenter, and that's Virginia Piper. And he says, Happy Friday. So it's great to know he's here with us. So,
welcome. Wow. We're honored, sir. Hey, I think if you said rustic instead of rough, you might not have lost so many subscribers. Let's say rustic, shall we, children? And the thing is, the stalk, as I was told, and I believe, that's where the majority of the nicotine is. So if they want to get more nicotine in the blend, I think that's why they might allow the bit more stalk in there. I don't know. It's just going off what I believe.
I know in the Pipe Club, there's quite a few of the people like a lot of the small batches that C&D puts out, and so there's quite a variety of C&D blends that people smoke, and I really haven't heard that comment so much. You know what I mean? So I haven't noticed it myself. I'm more toward the GOP side of the thing, but it's still done by, C&D. But and same with the Drucker and Sons stuff. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But I haven't noticed it more so than any other blend. You know what I mean? So
right.
Can I just say I've got this rich dark spring dew here. This was gifted to me by Charles of Bad Company UK. So I don't know if he's watching, but it's going down well. Charles, thank you.
Pilgrim Piper says, Happy to see everyone, Bud. Your nook there looks relaxing. So peaceful smokes to all.
I just found a quote from Mark Twain.
Oh, hold on. Have you got the mute button?
No. It's never smoke while you're asleep and never refrain while you're awake.
Great stuff. He'll get on, that fella.
Did you know that used to, and I don't know if these were city laws or state laws, but there used to be laws against people smoking in bed? So
how do they check that?
I don't know, but maybe in the UK these days they have a way of checking that, because they can enforce a lot of these crazy laws. Yeah. But I've always thought it'd be neat, and I've thought of this more for the car. I'm sure you've seen the pipe where there's the briar bowl, and it has like a hookah type hose coming off of it. And I've always wanted to get one of those. I thought it'd be kind of a neat pipe to have. You could have that easily, if you were bedridden, you could have that one sitting by your bed.
Oh, yeah. Your friend, is he still around? I'm wondering about Donald Campbell, OBE, land speed and water speed record holder, because he smoked a Falcon. And I do know at my smoking shop, his daughter is a regular there, and she was going to take his pipe in and a pouch of tobacco, but it's not happened. But they were going to do a tribute pipe to him. And that was going back to last year, but I know Ben's a little bit cautious of, a word we use here, mithering her. And he didn't want to. He sort of let it go along at her own pace. But I think she was going to go to a museum somewhere and just retrieve it for a short period of time. But that would have been up in the lakes, and I think she lives in Lancashire. So there we go. Donald Campbell, OBE, land speed. He died in an attempt. Was it Blue Streak on Coniston, Chris? Back in the 60s.
Or Bluebird.
Yeah, Bluebird. It's only recent decades have retrieved the the remains of Bluebird and rebuilt it.
Yeah.
We've got Bob joining us here. Says he's joining us.
I know
And
a
if
lot.
you're sitting out there and you want to join us, as I say, if I didn't already send you the link, you can send it to me in my email address, simply professorjeremiah@gmail.com. I put it up in the box earlier. Hey, Bob, welcome.
How you doing?
Welcome,
Good,
Bob.
good.
Good.
You come in under the radar.
All right.
So, Bob, what you savouring there? What we got?
Just some old Carter Hall.
Oh, very nice.
My
Not that I've ever
favorite.
smoked it, but I know it's popular.
My
And
favorite.
that's a shillelagh, is it, you're smoking there? You were smoking that in one of your,
Yeah.
a few Fridays ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do they still produce Carter Hall? Does anybody know? Or
Yep.
Oh,
They still
yes.
do.
Yeah.
okay,
You can
'cause
only
that was
buy it
one
in a
that they-
14-ounce tin, though.
Okay, because that was one that we're going to stop producing, but now they're still doing it. Okay.
Yeah, you can't
Well,
buy
I
a
still
pouch
have
anymore.
I still have a few of the boxes of Carter Hall in my cellar.
Cool.
Is that Preacher Man enjoys that, doesn't he? Preacher
Think
Man
so.
Piper. Have you heard from him?
I've seen a few posts that he's put up on Facebook, but I haven't heard from him in a while. I don't know.
Well, you
I
missed.
don't know if Pipe Tree would have heard from him. You heard anything from the Preacher Man Piper, Chris?
No. Not not someone I was in contact with, really.
Okay. I
I
didn't
know
know
a
if in
lot,
some of the
lot
groups
of
if you might have bumped into him.
lot of the old explorers were pipe smokers, like Robert Falcon Scott, and he was never without a pipe.
All right, this is me being really bad, Chris. Who was one who famously said, "I'm going outside and I might be some time."
That was Oates, wasn't it? From the Scott expedition.
Scott.
Yeah, it
Well,
was
if
Oates, Captain Oates.
Well, if I'm not
Was the one who
mistaken,
said
they
that.
were all gifted Peterson pipes
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah. So I've got a Peterson book somewhere.
All
And
right.
they actually did a set of pipes, set of 5 pipes named after 5 different explorers.
Brilliant. And they also did a series on rivers in Ireland, which was particularly nice. But then that's it; it's gone. You know, they've done that run and never to be, unfortunately, to date, never repeated.
Yeah.
Did you run into any YouTube pipe presenters at the meetup?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Oh, yes. Token Tommy was there.
Okay.
Sean was there. He's got a youngster, another one on the way. You know, so he's not doing one now. There's so many people there. We're just generally talking rather than. But yes, there were a few there.
Yeah, Tommy ain't really put anything out for a long time.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
And when he said to me, he said, "Steve, well, I've virtually covered it, and there's so many people out there now doing reviews. These were not his words, but it's more or less saying he didn't see the point, along those lines. And he has been particularly busy in other areas, but yeah, he's still involved, still enjoying his pipe.
Yeah, he runs the Nottingham pipe show every year.
He does, yeah. Is that going to be?
Marvelous job.
Is that November or October, Chris?
I'm not sure when it is this year. It I think it depends on when they can get an available weekend there.
Right.
That suits them.
Gentleman Scholar says hello from Boston Logan Airport. So.
All right, Gaz. Be nice to those passengers.
Yeah. Tell Gentleman Scholar hi.
Oh.
He
Maybe
can't
he's
wait.
maybe he's out on the tarmac smoking.
Doubt that.
He loves his job.
While they're refueling the plane, right?
Yeah. He loves his job, Gaz. He's always volunteering for extra flights. I know that.
I don't know if I would be willing to put up with people's nonsense this day and age.
Well, that's the trick. He doesn't.
No, that's true. I tell you, it is, to me, the way that people dress for flights these days. I mean, it's like people are in their pajamas, and it's disgraceful. I think I can't take it.
Yeah, 30 years ago, they used to dress up in suit and ties and dresses to fly. Now it's just whatever they got on their backs.
Yeah.
Steve always wore a dress when he flew.
I got preferential treatment.
I bet you did.
Might get a new pair of shoes out. You never know. Oh,
What's the weather like over there?
It's gone a little bit. It's not cold. It's gone a little bit cooler than it was. It's like 8 degrees Celsius now, and we've had a fair amount of rain for the last week, off and on. But at times it's been like, we used to call it stair rods. You know, the rain was coming down in stair rods. And the kids today, what's a stair rod? Well, there you go. But no, you can not complaining, Bob, not at all. Every day is brilliant. Every morning is brilliant. I'm out there with Molly.
Yeah.
The wildlife, because all the spring having gone, the youngsters, whether it's wildfowl. This morning I saw a barn owl over on the other side of the river. I was watching for a while, hunting. Couple of egret, which is a wading bird. And we don't normally get them here, but I've seen them in the estuary on the Mersey down between the Wirral and Liverpool, and on the Frodsham marshes, but they're coming up right up the river now. Yeah, we've had spring salmon coming up the Mersey, and we'll get another crop of autumn salmon coming up, an autumn run. So it's healthy. This was still is to a degree, but nothing like it used to be, an industrial river, and it was heavily polluted, a lot of sediment, but it's very clean now. I wouldn't drink it, but compared to how it used to be.
We are improving on some things.
Sorry?
We are improving on some things.
Yeah. Well, nature's so resilient, isn't it? If we suddenly disappeared tomorrow, the human race, it would soon take over again.
You're exactly right.
Unfortunately, we have a group of people that want to reintroduce animals that are no longer in this country, that used to be in this country. I mean, hundreds of years ago, some of them, at least. Like beaver, and they're saying, well, they create wetlands on the rivers. Well, yes, they do, and it will slow down the flow. But then what is at risk is migratory fish that come up, the salmon and the sea trout trying to get to the spawning grounds. And they're making no, where they've introduced the beavers, they're just so wonderful about all these insects that are growing there. But then they say, well, where's the salmon? Exactly. So G.K., tell me if I'm wrong here, there was a writer, G.K. Chesterton, and he said, before you remove a fence, you should think about why it was put there in the first place.
Yes.
And we had the activists that released the mink from the mink farms, which has caused so much damage across the country with all kinds of things, whether it's wildlife, pets, children. But we're not eradicating them, but we're certainly getting the populations down now. But that was a huge mistake.
Well, that's like and I think this is somewhere in Europe. Somebody here might know to be able to correct me, but there was a mink farm and the people were being forced to shut down, and the government came in and eradicated all of the minks. Mm. It's like you're saying that these people are doing the wrong thing by raising the minks for their fur to be used, but you're just coming in and killing them all. It's like it makes no sense.
Well,
that's oftentimes how all that works. What'd you say, Chris?
There was a thing when COVID was about that they eradicated a load of mink in I think it was Holland or possibly Denmark.
That might have been where it was.
But they said it was because they had COVID. But whether that's true or not is a different matter. I don't know.
What we have got in this country, and it's known fact, the European lynx now are breeding. There's colonies of them in Scotland in particular. And there's another group of people who want to reintroduce the mink. Well, they're already here. And they're growing organically, and they're doing a reasonable job, with things like rabbits and such. Deer, in fact, they can take deer down. That's all right, but why reintroduce more? That's the thing. Unless it's a job's worth, they get, we're going to get £250,000 a week for bringing more of them in. No, they're doing a job. And if they get to a level where nature can't sustain it, then that will automatically govern the numbers. But anyway.
Is the only purpose of the mink is for its fur?
Originally, that's what they brought them in for, to breed them for the fur, which now, as you know, is non-politically correct and has been for decades. So there is no commercial mink farms now, or there shouldn't be. But those that escape, they're just a killer. They will kill for the sake of it, unlike, say, if you have a leopard, which would kill to survive and eat and look after its young. The mink's just a total destructive animal.
Oh, I didn't know.
Sorry. We have a trap down the way along the canal and the river, and we were trapping them and eliminating them. You can't release them. Once you've trapped them, you've got to dispatch them. But we haven't trapped one for quite a while now. Not saying they're not around. Maybe they're getting wise, I don't know. But we've had no sign of them. All the wildfowl that's bred in the spring, they're all growing up now. There's, we're seeing a much healthier population of duck and coot and moorhen and swan. That side of it's prevalent at the moment. But to see the mink, not only will they take wildfowl, but we have something called a water vole, which is precious and very, being almost taken out. The mink will kill them, and they also will attack and kill what we call the kingfisher, which lives in the banks, and they'll find those as well. And we've got the number of kingfisher is on the increase now around our way, which probably is an indicator saying we're winning against the mink. It's a shame they never asked for it, but these do-gooders, and unfortunately, see, Professor, they're bred and they are going to be killed for their fur. So it was just like, this is it, but you're not getting any more. Well, that was in Holland, was it, Chris?
Yeah, I think the farm where they eradicated thousands of them was during COVID. So, but
Because all these
I
false
don't know if you
flags,
can
though.
look that up anywhere, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, they make excuses, don't they, governments? You know, so it's going to do this, so we have to get rid of it.
I know around here we used to have a problem in the rivers with American crayfish.
Oh, you will have. Well, they kill off the. Yeah.
What stage that's at the moment, I don't know, because they wiped out everything.
Well,
you weren't allowed to fish for them, but if you caught them, you weren't allowed to put them back.
Yeah, well, I've got a crayfish net, and when I've been fishing out in the wilds, I'll just put a bit of a chicken carcass in, and what they do, they carry a bit like the grey squirrels killing off the native red squirrel. They signal crayfish, and they've got this big red claw. They carry a disease which kills off the native British crayfish. So again, there's areas where and it starts with farms. They'd have a pond and they but these things get out and can crawl around and get into river systems. Yeah.
I know
last month I saw something I'd never seen before, and it was a gray squirrel. Everything looked normal, but it had a white tail.
Oh my God.
And I mean, I'd never seen that before, and thought that was interesting. But around here we still have a few fox squirrels. And the first time I saw a fox squirrel, they're red in color. They're much larger than a gray squirrel, but gray squirrels have pushed the fox squirrel out. But the first time I saw a fox squirrel was when I'd moved over into this county, and I was shocked. I was like, "What is that?" It just really took me aback. But at my house, all I see is gray squirrels. But I'm glad we could introduce gray squirrels to y'all.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good for stew.
No, well, the thing is, in Scotland, you shoot them. They're wanted dead. Yeah, that's it. Once you cross the border, it's open warfare on grey. A friend of mine, he goes stealth camping, bushcraft, all that, teaches it. And he eats squirrel, grey squirrel, and he will also eat rat. And I said, did they taste similar? He said, oh, rather similar. He said, but the squirrel's just that bit nuttier. Sorry.
Growing up, I'd go to my great grandparents' place, and one of my great aunts lived on the farm, but they had they had 100 acres, and we could hunt another 100 acres of a neighbor's. But I was out one weekend, and I'm just shooting gray squirrel after gray squirrel. I think I got about 10 or 11 of them. And I had gone into the house to get something to eat, and I called up an old friend of the family's down there. His name was Tommy, and Tommy was an old Marine. He had been on Iwo Jima, and Tommy would sometimes come over and go shooting with me, target shooting, or take me coon hunting when I was down there. And I was like, Tommy, you need to get over here. I said, I'm just shooting squirrel after squirrel. And he starts laughing, and I said, what? He's like, well, no wonder, he said, because squirrel season doesn't start till next weekend. I had no idea there was even a season for squirrels. Now, thankfully, the statute of limitations has run out, so I can tell that story now. But man, I took out a lot of squirrels that weekend. But my aunts, they would clean them and cook them, and they saw themselves all refined. So I would have never pictured them cooking up squirrel meat, but they did.
Tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
So everything tastes like chicken.
So, hey, Steve, Dry Fly Fisher said, my home river is trying to reintroduce grayling, which will be tough with brown trout as a predator, which caused their demise by 1886 when the brown trout was reintroduced.
Hold on.
So,
Who's this coming from?
from dry fly fisher.
Oh, well, you surprise me because we have the River Dee here and it is prolific in brown trout and grayling. And when I'm fishing, literally, it seems like, oh no, after you. So for a period, you'll have grayling taking your fly and they'll go off. And then the next thing, the brown trout are taking them. I can't see where or how the brown trout, from my experience, would eradicate the grayling. But what did happen back in the day, where you had prolific, like the Test, all these wonderful trout rivers, they detested having the grayling, even though it was another salmonoid. They would eradicate, do their best, the river keepers and anglers, to eradicate the river of grayling. But now, and it's my favorite target species when I'm, fly fishing, would be, I mean, it does have its own season. It's, alongside the brown, but I've never heard that before. Who's that come from? Fly fisher?
Yeah, dry fly fisher.
Dry fly fisher. Alex. Yeah, Alex, I've never heard that one before, unless they're eating the eggs, maybe. But if anything, I'd see the grayling would be more predating on the trout progeny, feeding off the bottoms. But there you go. I've never heard that one before, but there you go. But grayling are a great indicator because you must have pristine water, and good fly life and good oxygen levels, etc. So if you can get that right, then it's the time to introduce the grayling again. But the grayling's more akin to the Arctic char, I think, in its cousins. But it's still a salmonoid. It has a adipose fin between the dorsal fin and the tail fin, just about the size of a fingernail. But yeah, as long as the water's right, all the conditions are right, then it's your time to bring in your grayling. What we find is that when the grayling are prolific and the trout are having problems, competing for food source, that is when the brown trout will make its way down towards, the estuaries and the rivers and going out into the sea and the ocean, and then they become sea trout. And then they'll come back to the river of birth to spawn. So it's technically, fundamentally, it's the same as a brown trout. It's just gone off somewhere else to eat up. There you go. I see everyone's really interested in that then. Happy days.
Yeah, well, Piper X1X says it surprises him too.
Oh,
And then
right.
you'll have to tell me how to pronounce this. Is it? He says the river Swale.
No, a swale.
Swale. Okay.
Yeah, I fished
It
a
says
swale.
it has both brown trout and grayling.
Yeah, swales are a very well renowned grayling river. It's you don't get grayling. There's no grayling in Ireland. And there's certain rivers in that you don't get them in this country. Some that will actually go into, because they don't go to sea, they don't migrate, the grayling. Not in Britain anyway. They'll stick to the rivers they've been originally. But originally, I think they've come over from Europe, back in thousands of years ago, when we had landmass between Great Britain and mainland Europe. But there we go.
You should write a book about some of your fly fishing adventures.
Maybe one day, yeah.
Better hurry.
Yeah.
Good read.
Oh, you know something I don't. You've been talking to Mrs. Three Rivers, has she?
Time waits for no man.
What was that, Bob? Time waits for no man.
Time waits for no man.
Correct. Never a truer word, Bob.
He says dry fly fisher said part overfishing, so overfishing the area, part using the river for logging industry. and destruction of spawning beds, but the brown trout started eating the grayling fry since all adult fish had been overfished. So
there you go. Well, that I totally understand. Now, trout that cannibalize on other trout in this country, we call them ferox trout, and they can grow to a huge size, and they're fundamentally cannibalistic. But they will take salmon parr, salmon fry, and grayling. So yeah, I can, and we would actually call those, Alex, we would call those ferox in this country. But there you go. If Jonathan
said the River Swell is said to be the fastest flowing river in England.
Well, it's coming down from the Pennines, and it's quite a length there, and so it's got a heck of a height advantage to start flowing down. So yeah, I can totally understand that. Jonathan, was that Jonathan? Did you say said that?
Yeah, Piper X.
Jonathan, is it a Driffield Beck? I think it's the only limestone river up in that neck of the woods. That's got a great reputation for fishing. Driffield, I might be wrong. Driffield Beck. But I would like to fish that one day, maybe, hopefully.
What's been your favorite river to fish on?
Favorite? So many. I think I'd say the River Dee in Wales. There's some lovely spots along there, you know, I know them so well. Most of them close to a pub.
Ain't that amazing how when you fish and you fish a spot a couple times, it imprints in your brain. I can see places I fished 20, 25 years ago. I could imagine them right there.
Oh, Bob, two things. 100%. And secondly, I've just watched your casting action. Spot on. Excellent. Well, it is. You see, your thumb was up. Wherever your thumb goes, the rod tip goes. So when you stopped on your upcast on the back cast there, your rod was probably going just slightly off theirs, which is great. Just put that resistance in. I'll shut up now. Can we move on? Is it a Driffield Beck? Is that what he said? Or has he not come back?
He said he wasn't sure.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, chalk stream I meant, not limes. Yeah, chalk stream is Driffield Beck. Which means it's cleansed. There's it's filtered water, so the fly life, etc., is also healthy there for the fish. But my favourite spot, though, Professor, is a loch up in Scotland. And it's only 8 acres, a natural loch. And I take a rowing boat out on there. It's one of those I very rarely, of all the times I've fished it, seen anybody else on the loch. And it's just one of those places you can light your pipe, get out there. Yeah. And there's a bothy, there's two bothies, one halfway up the loch and one at the top end. And if it gets rainy or whatever, you can go in, light a fire, get a pot of tea on the go. Yeah. It's not all about, well, for me, Bob, it's not all about catching fish. It's like you say, it's the whole experience.
Whole experience, yes, right.
So now, what did you fish for? Was it bass or was it salmon or trout? Bit of everything?
I mainly fish bass here.
All right.
We, in the States, we have, they're competitive. And then the best fishermen get to qualify for the state team. We have like an Indiana State bass team that'll fish against a Illinois bass team that'll fish against a Ohio bass team, and we all compete.
Now,
I qualified for the team. I stopped fishing about 2014, 2015. But before that, I had qualified for the state team for 7 years in a row.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
You might remember a chap called Charlie West.
I think I do. Yeah.
He used to have a series, and obviously it's an American series.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. And fascinating. I love watching him. He was, one of those characters in fishing. I remember him coming over to Scotland fishing on the Tweed. And there's a young lad who teaching him to fish with a two-handed rod called Ian Fairgrieve. And Ian's become, I met him through coaching and what have you, but he's become a good friend of mine now. He's still going. Well, he's only a youngster compared to me. Well, Charlie West, yeah.
Steve X1X said, someone once asked me one Sunday afternoon what I was fishing for. I told him because the pubs were shut.
He probably had a couple of bottles of beer in his keep net.
Now, I know, I kind of know the answer to this, but I wanted to ask it anyway. So, have you fished out of the river and then just taken your catch to a pub for them to prepare it?
I've very rarely harvest from a river, but when I'm camping out to do, and I'll have them for myself with a bit of bacon for breakfast. And the only other time is when I've been fishing in a lake in North Wales. And we had rainbow trout in this lake. It was a put and take, if you like, but we still had to catch them. And I bring them back to the Ferry Tavern, and that'll be on the Saturday. Oh, myself and my other half, she's a brilliant fisher. And then on Sunday we go in, or in the evening, and everyone will be having rainbow trout supper. So yeah, he was a chef. He was just like sharing a bit of fish type of thing. But yeah, it was nice. In the winter, when there wasn't many people going down there, because the rainbow trout are never out of season. Can I just say that?
Tavern doesn't always serve food, do they?
Not always. They used to well known for their food, but then when the Wu flu happened, that was it. Never really recovered. But you can get the pie. They have a selection of pies there, which Molly and I will share a steak pie.
Well, gentlemen, it's been fun.
Grant.
It's been fun, but I got to go. I got an appointment to go to here shortly. Just a little reminder, when you, in your YouTube cast, you were talking about time zones. And when you said Middle Standard Time, realize that here in the States, we have daylight savings time, and then we have standard time. So that means, and a lot of people here get it mixed up. It's not just you, it's people here. They keep saying, oh, I'm on Eastern time. Well, are you on Eastern Standard Time? Or are you on Eastern Daylight Savings Time? Because there's an hour difference. So that's kind of my confusion when I try to get on.
Okay. Bob, bang on, but we're a week ahead of you. When we have our winter time, if you like, hour, we're ahead of you when we change the hour. Spring we spring forward, winter we go back. And that's sometime where you did have a meeting once and I turned up, was I an hour late? I can't remember. But I wasn't. Well, there you go.
You guys have a good time.
Good to see you, Bob.
All right. Good to see you, Bob.
We'll see you next month.
Yeah.
See that,
Ciao
Bob?
for now.
Well, I've just filled this bowl with skiff mixture. This is a more unusual Falcon. It's an actual one of the short ones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can't get these anymore. They don't come.
I didn't even know they produced them, Chris.
Yeah, I've got a few of them, but you can't buy them in the shops. haven't been able to for a long time.
Hmm.
I haven't seen many people who actually got any. I've got a few of them, but Falcon produced a fair few different pipes over the time. You know, because that's a Falcon Coolway, which is a briar pipe with a 9mm filter. I don't know if you can get those anymore either. I think you can still get the Falcon International.
Yeah,
I think you can still get those,
yeah.
but they did
Excuse me.
before.
Interesting bowl.
Yeah, this is
Fluted type of thing, is it?
an Alco, which is when they weren't allowed to use the name Falcon over here.
Huh.
They took the F off the front and the N off the end, and just called it an Alco. But it's got the Falcon symbol on it, and
So what was the reason for that?
some other firm was using the name Falcon at the time, so they weren't allowed to use the name. And then the other firm already went out of business, so they were Falcon in the States, and when they moved over to England, because some other firm had the name, they weren't allowed to use it, so they just altered it. But
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't think I'd heard that before.
That's the normal shape for the Alcos, you know, but bowls for the Alcos will not fit the Falcon pipes. They're different size. They also have one named after one of their factories.
Now, are you using the little filter in them, Chris, or no?
Yeah, well, I use the just a pipe cleaner.
Well, I think I'm going to go back to doing just cutting up my own pipe cleaners because I've been
that's what I
of
do.
late. I've been disappointed with they're just not consistent, and I get more problems with their little filters these days than there were. Really. Well, it's not just that, but it's, as I say, I just have more problems with them of late. They're just not as consistent, and I get more clogs from them than the benefit of it being a drier smoke.
Yeah, and there's the other one I was on about, which is called a Brentford, which has got a hexagonal.
Huh. Yeah, that's nice.
But Brentford was where they had the Falcon factory. That's why they named. But the bowls from these don't fit either of the other ones. Just to make it awkward.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
There wasn't consistency there. That would have been nice to have had a consistent bowl that could have fit any of them. So.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Gary holding in the way. He loves his Falcons, but he was at the Chicago show last month when we were doing this. But he was in England not long ago, and he stopped in Shrewsbury in Shropshire for a while. And they have a quarry there in a park with wonderful flowers, which I know, if not Gary, his wife, is very much the gardener. And the chap who renowned for setting all those grounds out down there. It's a chap called Percy Thrower. He's long
Oh, yeah.
gone, and he was an avid pipe smoker. And he'd have I think he was the first of these gardening programs. He'd have his potting shed, and, you know, pruning this, and people would send in letters saying, "What do you do about this?" But, you know, just thinking back to those days, he was never without his pipe. So he very much in the even sort of Jack Hargreaves era and
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
He
I think
used to,
we've either talked about him before, Steve, or we aired a clip before on a Pith Helmet
You
matinee.
know,
I can't remember.
I think we would have talked about him.
yeah, he had a slot on Blue Peter, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he designed. There's a children's program called Blue Peter, and they had their own little garden, and these are for like junior viewers. And
Yeah.
he planned the garden, and he would have been smoking his pipe and all the rest. And these are the sort of people we grew up with.
Yeah.
We've not done too bad, have we, Chris?
Because that was BBC One, and ITV had Jack Hargreaves on How, wasn't it?
Yes. Oh, he progressed or digressed to how, and it was like, how do you can hold a pint of water upside down?
Yeah.
You know, and it not come out taking, you know, like a beer mat taken away, and the meniscus and the vacuum is holding the water into that. And you say, how do you do that? So it explains how he does it. But the thing is with Jack, the camera would cut to him. I don't know. He'd take his pipe, put it down, and then he'd do his bit, and then he'd put his pipe back in again. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of nature I learnt about just listening and watching Jack Hargreaves out there back in the day.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Jack's stepson, we did have correspondence with him, didn't we? On the Pith Helmet matinee. And I didn't realise who it was. And I'd so love to, you know, he has done interviews before now about Jack. But imagine the wealth of knowledge he's got that he could contribute to putting even more flesh on the bone. But there we go.
Upland Piper said, "Hello, gentlemen. I'm late to the party due to work, but I'll be catching up with the replay." So,
Yeah, who's that?
Upland Piper.
All right. He'll be on your side of the pond, will he? So it's good day.
I'm not sure.
All right. Upland. Well, if it was this country, you're probably thinking of Scotland and the Highlands. Upland, maybe. Who?
Well, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, so
Oh well.
so we may go ahead and sign off here in a minute. If anybody's watched all 2 hours, I tell you, you need a medal for that. But
Yeah.
I know it's just a ramble and a stream of consciousness.
Well, if anybody wasn't familiar with the chat GPT or whatever, they got an education today, I think. So
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's. I know there's other ones out there that are AI driven, but I've found it to be very, very helpful. I mean, if you're wanting some quick information, quick statistics, it's great. I think it's very little money for it, but they've competed well because they've only recently really released an updated version that gave it more live time. Initially, even just 6 months ago, you weren't getting pinpoint accurate information for current time. I think it was all back a year before, but now it's more up to date. So I mean, AI, I think, is very dangerous. I think it's going to hurt a lot of industries, but it's a useful tool as well.
we have
Well,
some teachers in our club, they've been talking about, AI, how to, usually they can spot when people have used it, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah. Especially on the thumbnails. But certainly the actual videos straight away, the voice as well, there's no or it's all continuous, although the pronunciations are generally pretty good, but there will be exceptions where they've interpreted that, but it's actually pronounced this, but it's just like, that's it.
Well, most of the time, the problem is you're not giving it specific enough instructions. So if you're planning a trip, a little detail to do with that is to tell it in the planning, say, I want you to plan this trip with the experience of a 30-year veteran in the travel industry. And it's going to give you a whole different set of parameters than it would give you if you just said, help it plan this trip. So it's just how it searches. When it searches, it's only going to search the information from somebody with years of experience versus just giving you a quick planned trip. So that's just some little tips there if you're using AI. But sorry, not to make this about AI, and I'm not selling it. I don't get any money off of it. But it's the more information you get, the more specific you get, the better.
Well, here's something.
You want to receive.
Has anyone either here in the chat room experienced this? Now, me and Mrs. Three Rivers might be talking about a subject, might be saying about, should we look to see if there's any cottages we can rent for a week up in such a place in Scotland? And we're talking about it. Next thing, I'll be on the telly and I could go into YouTube and it's got all recommended for you. And there will be cottages. Yeah. Whoa, where's that come from? So I do not think this is coincidence. It happens far too often.
Big Brother is watching.
Yeah, or listening.
Listening.
Oh.
Well, that's
a lot
what
of
you
that might
get
have
when
to
you're
do with
using Google. Yeah, that's using Google, especially on your phone. It's listening to you, especially if you're using Google Chrome.
Yeah. Hello.
Oh.
But when you were playing the old blues harp, is that what your main thing was, blues in particular?
Yeah.
Did you usually enjoy having like a loose jam?
Yeah, I would go to quite a few what some people call hoot nights or open mic nights, that kind of thing, and we just assemble and somebody'd start
just
playing
let it
something.
go. Just let it go. Yeah, but some of the best times. Yeah.
And then for a while I was in a band, and we had a set list and all that kind of stuff. So, you'd have to learn parts, you know what I mean? You just weren't
of course, yeah.
ad-libbing the whole time. But and you kind of picked up on, especially if you were familiar with the song. And at that time I was listening to a lot. So I would kind of try to emulate as best I could whoever was playing. So
did you have a range of blues harps, or did you stick with one key that was mainly?
Oh no, I had a whole quiver.
Oh, quiver. I mean? Yeah, quiver. Yeah. Right. Excellent. Yeah, there's things going back when I was in the band. I don't know music. I just used to play by ear. But Stone's Little Red Rooster and things like that. It's you just get into it and just try and emulate. That was it.
Now the cool thing about a harmonica is that there's more than one key of music that you can play to, you know what I mean? So what they call straight harp is if it's in a key of C, then the music is in a key of C, you'd play a straight harp, you know what I mean? Which is more like what somebody like a Bob Dylan or what I mean, just
middle of the road kind of thing.
Yeah, and more like folk music or country music, that kind of thing. And then blues is what they call second position. So if you have a harmonica in E, the fifth position would be A, and so you play blues in A. You know what I mean? Because you were bending those notes, and it was mostly draw notes. And then you can get into third and fourth positions too, which are up in the upper sixth scale. And so, like somebody like a John Popper or a Howard Levy, even Sugar Blue, they would all play in those upper registers. You know what I mean, kind of thing. And that's what they call overblow, where you blow into the mic hard enough to where it bends the note.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you can distort to a degree, can't you? That's the thing as well. But I mean, Crossroads, that was the thing I used to have a dabble at.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Yep.
fun. I don't belong to do it now.
So, Bud, who would be some of your more favorite blues singers?
Well, I think if you go back to the classic Chicago style, you have, Muddy Waters and the guys that were in his band, like Little Walter was his first harmonica player that was probably the most famous. And but you had guys come out of that I mean, he had a series of people play for him. I think the more modern guys, well, they're not even modern anymore. They were modern when I was doing it. Was like Sugar Blue was, it's just phenomenal. He played with the Rolling Stones, you know what I mean, and did stuff. And he's a phenomenal harmonica player. Trying to remember his first name, but the last name is Cotton. He did quite a bit of session work with different people. Some of these older guys that were kind of famous in the Chicago era, they, as musicians came along, they would pull them in to, do sit in for some sessions and stuff like that, and they'd get recorded that way. So you would see quite a bit of that. Kim Wilson is probably another guy I really like. He's the Fabulous Thunderbirds. He's really an awesome harmonica player. I got a chance to see him live and actually saw a lot of his techniques, which I was able to incorporate into what I did. And so there's a lot of, you can get a tremolo sound by either moving a harmonica or by moving your head. You know what I mean? And then also he would have the harmonica cupped, and then he would, smack his, and that would change the tone of the harmonica almost immediately. And so he would be doing things like that. And then there's what they call a country style, which is, you have the mic out here and you're just playing to it, and you're using a lot of hand, vibrato and that kind of thing. So there's all kinds of different people and different techniques. Every person's different. So, anybody who picks up a harmonica, even though it's the same harmonica, they're going to all sound a little bit different because of how we're built and how much, if you play a harmonica for an hour and you haven't been playing one, you're going to know it. The lips are going to be sore and tired, and that kind of thing. So, but it's a great, cardio kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of breathing, and you have to really work on your breath control and that kind of thing. And then there's different techniques in how you play, how you use your tongue to play songs, and there's different methods for that. And I think the other guy I really liked was William Clark, who passed away, but he played a lot of chromatic harmonicas, which are much stiffer reeds. So you really have to have some power to bend those reeds. And he was pretty phenomenal too. Good singer too. So there's a lot more harmonica players out there than people really probably even realize. You know what I mean? That never get heard, because you don't hear that kind of music, you know what I mean, on the radios and even streaming, unless you know what I mean, say, Spotify, play me a blues list, you know what I mean? And you might hear some harmonica music in there.
Yeah, generally the harmonica player is part of a group. You
Right,
never
typically.
hear their individual names or what.
The one guy who was kind of pretty famous, he was more of a jazz harmonica player, is Toots Tillerman. And he actually did solo soundtracks for a couple of different movies where it's just him playing a harmonica. You know what I mean? Just to add, you know, a music background to the whatever's happening on the screen kind of thing. So
You ever hear of some harmonica player called Dennis James Eagleton?
James Eagleton, I don't think so.
He played for Lightning Willie and the Poor Boys.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We had not so much your soul blues, but more traditional. There was a chap called Larry Adler.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he played a lot of soundtracks on there, but he wasn't like a blues harp. It was a proper harmonica, and
Right.
he was so good. He was.
He was phenomenal.
He was.
Even seeing playing huge harmonicas.
Like a Toblerone.
Yeah.
Like the harmonicats kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Big bass harmonicas and stuff. You know, the other guy, I can't think of his name, but he played with Willie Nelson for a long time.
All right.
And he's played with a lot of different country bands and that kind of thing. He added a lot of harmonica flavor to a bunch of country songs. So, but yeah, you know, it runs the gamut of just about every kind of music. And I mean, Charlie Musselwhite's the other guy. I bought his tapes and have his book and that kind of thing. And he, I played Lee Oscar harmonicas, and so Lee Oscar was another guy who was famous for playing harmonica with the band War back in the '60s and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, but I like Charlie's style, and he was a singer, and you know, he was total blues man. You know what I mean? So,
well, even the Beatles introduced him like in certain intros and things like that.
Sure. They actually played a pretty good harmonica because I've heard other bands of that era where somebody plays a harmonica and I'm going, you know, they probably had picked it up 2 weeks ago, you know, and started playing, but it's recorded, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And I'm probably thinking when they go back and listen to that, you know, later on, they're going, "What the heck was I doing?" You know what I mean, kind of thing. So
exactly.
it was like, but you know, it was a, you know, it was kind of for especially rock, harmonica was an interesting instrument to introduce, you know, into a song. So
it's just got that soul to it. It's just the blues. It's just so good. So how are we doing, Professor? Is that a wrap?
Yeah, I think we're at the 2-hour mark. So
okay.
For those who are watching on the replay, if you made it this far, God bless you.
Yes.
Yeah. What subjects have we not covered?
It's been good. I hope we can get a whole group in here sometime soon. Not that I love our group that we've had, but I'd love to see a bunch of folks bring their Falcon pipes in and get in here. I know some people are working. Maybe some people are just out on the river. I don't know.
You know, it was interesting. I meant to say something, but for Smarty Bob, when he came in, is he had talked in one of his videos about, you know, Falcon Friday and that kind of thing. And I happened to send him an email saying, "Hey, Professor Jeremiah has a Falcon Friday that he does, and he's been starting to do again." And so hopefully he reached out to you for that reason. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So
I saw that, Bud. I saw that one. But as it happened, Bob was the last one a year ago, or a year and a month ago, with the Professor on the Falcon Friday at that time. But so much water has gone under the bridge since then, hasn't it, Professor? But it's been great fellowship chats. So enjoyed your company and those in the chat room contributing, Alex and Jonathan. Yeah. I hope I've missed. Oh, yeah, and Upland Piper. Have I missed anyone? No.
And Gentleman Scholar.
Oh, yes, Gary. Sorry, guys.
So it's been great. Great to see everybody. And as I say, Steve and I have a a special that'll be coming out soon. I'm hoping that I can have that put together by next Friday. So we'll see. It's going to be a little editing, not so much on the content, but on just putting in a little extras to go along with our discussion. So
Awesome.
No dancing girls.
no, you never know. Maybe some Bigfoots dancing.
Oh, Christ.
No, we didn't
AI.
even get into that topic. So we still got plenty of things to talk about here. But
There we go.
just to give you a little hint, we're going to be talking about kind of the unusual, the unseen. We're going to be discussing the pyramids and ancient world and sort of the unknown. This will be the X-Files edition of the Pith
Awesome.
Helmet Matinee.
Sounds good.
So maybe we need to get somebody in at some point that's a pipe smoker that's into the cryptozoology or something along those means. And
Yeah, we were having quite a ramble. And Professor says, oh, there's some good stuff here. What good stuff? I'm thinking. So where do I sign this? Like was it the Fifth Amendment? I don't know.
So, well, all right, brothers and sisters, I'm glad y'all could join us for this Falcon Friday, and hopefully you'll have a good rest of the weekend. So,
Awesome.
so till next time.
Okay. Are we catching up afterwards, Professor? You need to get back.
Yeah,
Okay.
you and I can. We can
Can I
catch
just stay here then?
up.
Forever.
Yeah, that'd be good. So, all right,
All right.
everybody, enjoy
All right.
it.
See you, bud.
Until
See you,
next
Chris.